Privacy compliance in the AI world. Well, yes, we all know privacy is important and we also understand that AI is here. Now, as the AI revolution hits us, it's equally important and even more important to stay focused on privacy. Of course, we as privacy experts understand, AI experts understand that privacy is something which is important and which is the same as it would have been for a normal system, IT system. But it's not often that everyone understands it. So let's understand, why is privacy important in AI world? How can privacy by design be integrated into the AI components or AI tools right from the architecture? And how can GDPR compliance be assured in a SaaS-based tool? What about data retention? And how do you stay privacy compliant as you grow and scale your company? Now, these are important questions, and usually you would think that we will need to go to a privacy and AI expert to answer them. This time, I'm going to have a business person conversing with us on these topics and sharing why these topics relating to privacy matter. And before you go, I would encourage you to go and check growskills.store and take advantage of the ISO certifications, ISO trainings like ISO 27701 for privacy, ISO 27001 for cybersecurity, ISO 42001 for AI. Take advantage of these courses and use it to your advantage. Learn, grow, and certify yourself. And yes, let's go and talk to Sylvestre Dupont, who has a company that parses or that reads different data and converts it into useful data, like reading a PDF and converting into useful data by parsing it. So he has a company and he is focused on privacy, and let's go and talk to him on these matters.
Hello, and welcome to the FIT4Privacy Podcast with Punit Bhatia. This is the podcast for those who care about their privacy. Here, your host, Punit Bhatia, has conversations with industry leaders about their perspectives, ideas, and opinions relating to privacy, data protection, and related matters. Be aware that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are not legal advice. Let us get started.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fit4Privacy podcast. My name is Punit Bhatia, your AI and privacy expert. And today we have the privilege to welcome Sylvestre Dupont. So, Sylvestre, welcome to the Fit4Privacy podcast.
Hi, Punit. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you, and let's get started with a very basic question. Everybody's talking of artificial intelligence, or AI as we call it. You have a company that relies on it. But when you think of AI, what is the one word that comes to your mind?
I think the only word possible is revolution, right? It's anybody that has touched some AI tools, some ChatGPT or any of the new tools can only be amazed by what we see today. And I cannot even fathom the future about that. So I think what we see today, what the apps you can have on a simple phone like this, nobody would have thought it would have been possible only 2 years ago. It's incredible how fast in 2 years things have moved. And as far as I can tell, there is no way this is slowing down anytime soon. So every week now in the news, you have a new model that appears, a new company that claims to be 2 times better, cheaper, faster, whatever, and smarter. And we start to see the impacts on that, on how fast software is evolving, how companies are starting to do the good and the bad, because there are still some questions around workforce and layoffs and this kinds of stuff. But I think it can only be categorized as a revolution. It's going to change things. For me, it's as important as the internet was, or electricity was, or maybe even the car, maybe. So we may not know where we're going, but we are going someplace interesting.
Sure, I think we are in for interesting times. And when we talk about AI, AI consumes or relies on a lot of data. And some of the data is personal data or sensitive data sometimes. And that's when we talk about privacy as well. Because when we process personal data, privacy and the GDPR and the Singapore law and the so on and so forth come in. So I would like to ask for your view on, when it comes to AI, how important is it privacy? How important is privacy in the AI world?
It's critical. But it's important to understand how AI works today. So the AI you're using today is trained on data to make them smart. And then what they do is that they use this training data to predict the best answer to the questions you are giving them, or the tasks you are giving them. So it's important when you use an AI tool to understand, okay, is the conversation we are having now, how is it going to be used later? Is it going to be used to retrain the model, to improve the model, in which case your personal data that you may submit is going to be kept by the company, and it may not be what you want, or even what your customers accept? Or will the model just use their previous data and they tell you, okay, but we don't reuse what you are sending us for new training? And nowadays you have those two modes. Basically, if you use a free tool or ChatGPT, personal, whatever, you most likely know that whatever you say with the AI may be reused for training. But if you have using some enterprise grade AI, most of them, the big ones now at least, certain you that unless you say, yes, I agree that my data will be reused, it will not be the case. In our situations, we have an AI tool at Parser, and we made sure to select our AI providers so that data we send them will not be reused for training new models, because we are certain our customers will not accept that.
No, that's a very good point. The AI uses data, but when you're using an AI platform, that platform should not use your prompts, your information, your data for learning its own learning. Now, that kind of gets into the dimension of what we call privacy by design. That means you implement privacy from the scratch, from the start, when you're thinking of the requirements, and incorporate it. So, would you have a view on when an AI tool architecture, system architecture is being developed? How can privacy by design be integrated into it?
Well, for me, in that sense, AI doesn't change things much compared to any other tools. When, as a company, if you're the one building the product, you have to understand your data flow, or what you are getting data from your customers, where it's going to, how, if you're using third parties, how they are going to use the data. And in this sense, AI doesn't change anything. You have to ensure that you build something where the data that you ask from your clients, your customers, or your users is used in the way they accept it. And this is quite easily documented in your data processing agreement, in your privacy policy, on your website. If the company is doing a good job, that should be very clear and very much listed there. So AI doesn't change things much here. And I mean, basically, the rule of thumb is that usually if the products you are using are free, there is a good chance that the data will be reused, AI or non-AI, because that's how a company have to make money. They have to pay salaries. So often they will leverage whatever you send them to do some things with it, to sell it to advertisers, to maybe do some AI training or whatever. But if you pay for a service as a user or as another company, and this is a respectable company, you should be assured that the way they handle your data is private. And at least if that's what you are requesting, you should read their data privacy and data processing agreement and make sure that you are in line with whatever they do with your data.
Okay, that does make sense. I think it's logical. If you're paying for a product, your data is private. And if you are not paying, then you are the product and your data is being monetized. That's the unfortunate reality of the world we are in. So, when someone is building a software as a service tool, especially using AI like the one you have, what about GDPR compliance? So, how do you go about it? I like the approach you already mentioned, that nothing changes per se in terms of privacy or GDPR, because end of the day, AI is also a system, and like any other system, you should look at incorporating GDPR compliance, privacy by design, all those principles. But still, how do you go about building or creating GDPR compliant software as a service AI based tool, let's say?
So first of all, I think for many companies, the GDPR and data privacy is a scary word. It's something they don't want to talk about. They want just to build their product, go to the market, find their customers, and everything a bit legalese and a bit complicated is something that doesn't be talked much or considered much. And I think that's a mistake. I think for me, I find it very important that you can get the trust of your users and customers. And one of the way of doing that is to ensure you are not doing stupid things with whatever data they send. So for me, I see compliance with GDPR and all the other data privacy laws as an advantage, as a selling argument. So for us, we are two co-founders of a company. We're two French Europeans. So I think data privacy is more closer to our heart naturally than it is for maybe some US companies. And before us, it was very important that since the day we launched our first version of a product, we understood what was GDPR about. We understood what were the tenets, even if we are not lawyers or data privacy experts, we understood what was the basic requirements to make sure that we would be compliant. And so in our case, we partnered with some data privacy experts. They helped us not only in making sure that we were doing the right thing, but also training us, teaching us, telling us like, okay, this is, for instance, this is, you're going to process data as a processor. This is the data you're going to process as a processor. The customer is going to be the controller. This is what it means. This is what you are allowed to do and what you need to do. And that's very important. And every day we talk to our customers, and especially the European ones, but more and more everybody is asking for data privacy. Not only are they asking, are you compliant with GDPR? Because everybody can say yes, but they are asking some very precise questions, asking, show me your DPIA, your impact assessment for your subcontractor. Show me the training. They can ask to audit us every year for any customers. So it's not only important that we ensure that we are compliant, but also we know what we're doing. We just not putting a policy out there on the website, but we understand what's behind and what it takes to be compliant.
I'm very pleased with the way you explain it, because that shows your understanding the concepts, and you understand what is to be done and why it's to be done. And you certainly have put a focus, it seems, on the GDPR compliance. And I agree with you that it is not something to be feared of. It is something to be done and then utilized as a differentiator in the market, saying, we have done the right thing. We protect your data. This is how we do it. And you can trust us. And then it creates trust, and then it creates more customers if you do it in the right way, because customers anyways will ask you, what do you do with my data? Where do you keep it? Are you a controller? Are you a processor? But if you can answer these questions upfront and be prepared, you have a head start. Now, another topic I like to touch with you is when we talk about GDPR compliance and when we talk about AI being data hungry and GDPR putting restrictions on what can you do with personal data, there's the aspect of keeping data as long as necessary, that is limiting its purpose and limiting its use and limiting its lifespan as well, which we call data retention. So the requirement is that you should not keep data longer than necessary. Now, how does that play in, or how does the retention policy play in this world of AI and automated workflows?
Well, for me, I'm of the school that the best way to think about those things is to let the user in control on the control seats and decide what they want to do, because it's their data at the end of the day that they're sending it. So just quickly, we have a tool to automate data extractions from documents. So basically, we don't control what companies or users send us. They have some emails or some PDFs. They need data out of it, and they want us to extract it, and then we give it the data back to them. So most of the data that we gather from our customers is not data we ourselves as Parser, my company, require for the day-to-day activities of our business, but it's just the data that our customers ask us to process. So in this situation, we let them also decide how long they want us to keep the data for. So by default, we keep it for 90 days because, of course, once they have the data on our platform, they can have some history, what happens, they can look it up, what happened in the past. If something is wrong, they can rework it. But they can say, oh, I don't want you to keep it 90 days. I want you to keep it 1 week or even 1 day, or even as soon as it's processed, it's deleted from your servers. And then, okay, I understand that I cannot see what happened in the audits, in the history, but at least I know you will not have my data. And I think for me, that's the best answer. If you have the opportunity to have a service like this where you you don't need as your company to keep the data. Let the user decide how long they want to keep it, and then you'll be in the compliance. They'll be happy.
No, that's very well said. Put the user in control, let them decide what they want to do, put in the functionality, put in the tools around saying they can choose how long they want to keep data. Tell them the consequences of, like you explained, if you keep the data for one day or you delete it instantly, then you don't have the possibility or the history for you to go back and see what you did. But that's about it. So there's always a cost you have to pay for keeping the data or not keeping the data, both ways. It's very well said. Now, you mentioned that you have a platform on AI-based, what is it called? Data
Parser.
extraction from PDF. Can you explain us what is this platform all about and what do you do? And maybe also talk about a bit about yourself. How did you go about setting this platform?
Okay. Well, my co-founder and I launched a tool called Parser. So it's not the best name in the world, especially when you have to pronounce it, because it's the French writing of Parser, the word Parseur. So what it does is, as I said, to automate data extraction from documents. So if you are a business, you receive too many emails every day about recurring topics, you receive too many invoices in PDF or logistics, bill of lading or whatever in a document, and you need that data that is in the document for your day-to-day business. And you have today currently some people sitting in an office copy and pasting the data from the documents to another system. You don't need to do that anymore. AI is super smart today to do that for you. And we give you a tool to automate that. And we extract you the data, and then you tell us what you want to do with that data, and we push it wherever you want it. Be to another tool. You can download an Excel if that's all you need. You can send it to some automation platform like Zapier or Power Automate, etc., to put it to directly another tool or CRM, and that's about it. So we came through this idea. Parser is 10 years old almost. We came to this idea because my co-founder and I are avid travelers. We met a very long time ago, and we just enjoyed to travel here and there together. And so we had many booking confirmations from emails, from hotels, from flights. And we wanted to have a travel map that would show where we had been. And because we traveled a lot, doing that manually was a bit tedious. So we said, oh, maybe there are tools for that. And it turns out that at the time, there were not many tools for that. There were a few, but that gave us a business idea. We decided to pursue it, and that's how Parser is done. So we started the two of us, totally bootstrapped, no external investors, no nothing. So keep in control again. And that's still the case today. 10 years later, we are a bit more than two now. We are 5, but we are still fully bootstrapped, totally in control of our company and what we do for our users. And what is maybe a bit peculiar about how we work is that we are an async first company. So we are 5, as I said, 5 countries in 5 continents across 12 hours time zones. So we have to work async. We have customers all around the world, in the US, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, in more than 80 countries last time I checked. So we have to know how to work like this, remotely and async. And now with AI, it's quite exhilarating what you can do. It's we could not have been 5 people serving thousands of customers just 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It would not have been possible. But now with AI, with self-service tools, with all the service you can get from the internet, you can really scale a company quite large without a huge amount of headcount.
That makes sense. That's quite useful. So what you're saying is, if I have an invoice, if I have a payment receipt, if I have an email, what it can do is it can convert that data into something, and then I can use that data to create something. Like if I book a flight ticket, it can extract and it can create a calendar entity. Does it do the calendar entity creation or just the data extraction? Or both?
We do the data extraction, and then you can connect it to a platform like Zapier or many others that you can say you connect it with Google Calendar if that's what you're using, and then you can create your.
That makes sense. That has quite a few use cases then, because you can extract data from multiple sources. And if the problem, especially with PDFs, is how do you extract data? And from emails and everything, you have to do it manually. So that's very useful. Now, going back to our conversation on the privacy topic. For a company, when is the right time to start thinking of privacy? Now, of course, people like me who are privacy experts, AI experts, we say start from the day one. But I'd like to hear from you. What is your advice? Because people say let's start the startup, then when we are scaling up we will do privacy. For me it's completely opposite and not logical. But how do you see that privacy compliance, especially when scaling up?
Well, it does take a bit of time to get into the nifty gritty of what it means from all the terms and all the compliance. So I wouldn't be as certain as you and say, oh, start day one to implement that and do it. Because when you start a startup, the saying that 90% will fail. So maybe you have some more pressing matters. Maybe just make $1 on the internet and then you can start and think what you're going to do with that dollar. But I think at the end of the day, data privacy laws are not rocket science. Maybe the wording is, or the constraints when you implement them are, but at the end of the day, it's not complex. It's just know what you do with your customers' data and don't do anything that is unexpected from them. So, I mean, most people that start startups are human beings. So they're also users of other companies. So it's quite easy to put yourself in the shoe of a normal user of your business and say, okay, is your business about selling candies? Great. So selling candies, probably you need the name of the person and their address. Because you have to send the candies, but do you really need to know their job? Do you really need to know how many people there are in the household? Maybe they want to tell you yes, but don't make it mandatory. These kinds of questioning. So I think to start a business, you just keep in mind that you are taking care of data that is not yours, that your users are submitted, and try to treat it with respect and just normal. And then once your business starts to get traction, then you can maybe go the step further and really understand all the terminology behind the data privacy and make sure your company is compliant.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think the way I see this conversation is you share that AI is a revolution and it creates a lot of possibilities, and you're of the belief that privacy is important for AI, and we should not differentiate between when it comes to AI. Privacy is applicable for all kinds of systems, all kind of data, and then especially the personal data. Then think of privacy by design, GDPR compliance, data retention policy, and everything along the way, along the journey, and do it from start. Of course, sometimes you have to sandbox your concept, and at that moment you can sandbox in a limited, controlled way without going public. But do pay attention to privacy compliance, and it's logical, it's required. But yes, there's a fear mongering around people when it comes to privacy and GDPR compliance. And of course, you provide a platform which is AI and privacy based. I mean, AI
Yeah,
driven and privacy compliant, as we call it.
yeah, and maybe again, don't see data privacy as an evil you have to deal with. Just see it as an opportunity to, as a sales argument, by showing and demonstrating to your customers that you care about it. It's going to get you customers. It's not going to be the other way around.
Yeah, and that's another thing I would have added, but I'm very happy that you added, because when it comes from you, it has much more value and it's a much more credence coming from the business side. So with that, I would say it was wonderful to have you. I wish you success with your continuing journey on your business, and let's keep in touch. Thank you so much, Sylvester.
Thank you very much, Punit, for having me and having a podcast about things that some people might find boring, but I think is very important.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. If you liked the show, feel free to share it with a friend and write a review. If you have already done so, thank you so much. And if you did not like the show, don't bother and forget about it. Take care and stay safe. Fit4Privacy helps you to create a culture of privacy and manage risks by creating, defining, and implementing a privacy strategy that includes delivering scenario-based training for your staff. We also help those who are looking to get certified in CIPPE, CIPM, and CIPT through on-demand courses that help you prepare and practice for certification exam. Want to know more? Visit www.fit4privacy.com. That's www.fit4privacy.com. If you have questions or suggestions, drop an email at hello@fit4privacy.com. Until next time, goodbye.